Now for the LT Wright Genesis. First, we'll try the pine. Almost zero pressure here. I mean, just barely touching this wood. Definitely not biting as deep as the Jessmuk, but some reasonably fine curls here. Pretty comfortable in the hand. So that's enough for now. Pretty decent. You know, I felt pretty good in my hand. I'm starting to fatigue just a little bit from all the work I've done, but you know, these curls aren't quite as fine as with the Jessmuk, but they're definitely nice. Not too tight in some of them, but you know, again, I'm practicing. I'll get it down. Some real tight ones in there. It's pretty nice. So now on to the poplar. See if I can get a nice edge established here. Wood's quite wet and it's slippery. The knife's kind of sliding through. It's kind of tough going. Not great. Mostly technique, and the wood is wet. I just need to practice. But that's about all I'm going to do for now. Let me try out the maple and see how we do. Let's try running this hard edge. This is one of those things you can feel it, that once you learn the technique and get the feel, you'll actually be able to perform the task. But for me, I'm just, I don't have the finesse yet. It's just more time with the blades, more time trying to process wood. Very similar to the Jessmuk. I mean, I'm able to make some mighty fine curls and lots of them, but it's hard getting the actual curls to stay on the stick. So again, could you make some really nice starter tinder? Yeah, absolutely. But as a, you know, mid-sized tinder, to not have it on the feather stick is kind of difficult. But anyway, I think that'll do it for the Genesis, and I'll move on to the next knife. And now for the Helle Gaupe. Let's start with the pine. Again, this is the only stainless blade in the mix today. This thing feels unbelievable in the hand. It's running right down those ridges. Just try and get that a little more established. Just feels excellent in the hand. I mean, getting some really super fine little curls, and then, you know, I'm digging deeper simply just to kind of chew through this a little bit faster. But really nice, feels great in the hand. Seems to ride real smooth along the wood, super sharp. I mean, just, you know, I'm learning control, but I feel this blade will have the control that I'm looking for. Nice weight, super lightweight. I mean, this thing's comfy. When you need to, just chews right through that wood. Not bad. And now we'll try the poplar. I mean, I'm having a hard time getting the real fine curls to stay on the stick. I've made a whole bunch of them. They're falling off. I mean, this wood is a little bit slippery. When I dig a little deeper, I am able to get some decent feathers on there, but they're a little thicker than I'd like, especially for the wood being kind of wet. And so I don't think this one performed as well as I had hoped. Certainly not on the poplar. It was fine on the pine, but on the poplar it wasn't so swell. But anyway, let's give the maple a try and see what we do. And now for the Gaupe, the maple. These all seem to start just about the same every time. So I'm not going to go too much further. I'm actually kind of running low on batteries here, but for the first time I actually have a feather stick that almost resembles a feather stick on the maple, using the Helle Gaupe. Beyond that, I mean, some ridiculously fine little curls. I mean, it was definitely capable of getting some nice fine little shavings and a nice little pile of them there. So anyway, I mean, it would get you some nice quality tindering. Kindling. I think that would be an app, potentially for people looking for casual encounters. That would be tindering. Anyway, moving on, we'll go to the Mora. And now finally, the Mora Companion. We'll start with the pine. Of all the knives, this one is the slimmest in profile and actually has the smallest blade in terms of the grind. It's slicing nice. It's just it's digging a little deep. I'll try to lighten up the pressure just a bit, get some finer curls going. I mean, most of it's probably me, and it's the fact that this knife's probably not quite as sharp as the others just because of my abuse to it and, overall age and somewhat lack of maintenance. I mean, I can't really say lack of maintenance because I definitely maintain it, but, this edge isn't quite as polished as the other knives. It looks pretty fine. Like, I think my touch-up and my stropping definitely helped. But, it might have some microscopic abrasions or serrations, I guess, is when you look at, the actual edge. That camera's done. When you look at the actual edge in fine detail, it's probably not as refined as it could be. But all things considered, that's not too bad. I mean, some of the curls are a little thicker than I'd like, but at least it's pine, it's dry. This thing's flavored out pretty nice. So let's move on to the poplar. All right, now for the poplar with the Mora Companion. Let's see if I can slice me out a nice place to work here. There we go. So again, I could keep going, but I'm really running short on battery and I'd like to finish this thing up. And that's not too bad, actually. This did pretty nice on the live wood. Cut through real smooth, seemed to have gotten some pretty decent fine curls. Didn't necessarily dig too deep. I liked it, felt good. Moving on to the maple. And finally, we have the Mora Companion with the maple. Start the way I have every single time so far. Let's move these aside. I don't know, I'm tired and I quit. Not great. Again, microscopic little shavings that would probably make for a good tinder, but you know, no feathers on the stick. So anyway, that's it for the Mora Companion. So what exactly did I learn today? Well, I learned that I need to practice my feather sticks, that's for sure. I also learned that I need another camera battery in order to do a video of this length, so that was actually a very important lesson to learn, and so I will be considering that. In terms of which knife performed the best, I mean, they all had their pros and their cons. Between comfort, between how fine I could carve a feather stick, and really each one of them performed differently. Not for the better, not for the worst. I would have to say though, maybe it was just how I started, that the Bob had the nicest feather stick on the pine. And I would have to say that the Mora had the best feather stick on the poplar, and the only one able to produce an actual feather stick other than the Charlie Brown tree of feather sticks. The only other one that was able to perform at all was the Helle knives. Got a little bit of a feather stick there. But it was fun. Nice to be able to use these blades. So I'm glad I was able to use my equipment today. You know, we buy all this stuff for all these different tasks, but we don't always get to use it. So, you know, instead of having it sit around on a rainy day, I was able to put it to good use and learn a thing or two. I hope you found that it was educational and that it showed you that each one of these knives could perform a little bit different, especially using a different wood, whether it's dry, whether it's wet, whether it's hard or it's soft. These knives are going to react differently, and it's something to consider when you make a purchase, or you know, when you want to experiment with a new blade. You always need to think about what your application is going to be and what you're trying to do with it. So that's it for now. Thanks a lot. See you soon.